Hello besties, it's Sab. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. It has been quite a bit since I've last updated or posted a video on this channel. I have a lot to update you guys on. So, first of all, what this video is going to be is my July, August, and September reading wrap up. I feel like I should explain something to you guys. So, I currently live in Colorado, but I was born and raised in Ohio. That's where all of my family is. And I went back to my hometown in Ohio, and I literally got there August 1st, and I was going to be there until like maybe the first week of September. That didn't quite happen. I stayed in Ohio for over 2 months. I do miss Ohio and I miss my family so very much. So it was very nice, very much needed to spend that quality time with my family. And honestly, just moving away just makes you appreciate everything a million times more. So, although I feel bad because I feel like I really let myself go as far as reading, my bookstagram, my booktube, I haven't really done much regarding those things. With that being said, we're back. I feel like I'm back in my routine. I am ready to see the difference as far as reading because honestly, I don't feel like myself when I wasn't reading. And you'll see here the difference. Anyways, let's get into the video. I just kind of wanted to explain to you guys why I went gone, why I was missing, why I left for a little bit. I was just taking a little mental health over a 2-month break. But I feel so much better and I'm so happy to be back. I'm back in my routine and back in my house and back to this. So let's get into the video. Okay, besties. So the first reading wrap up that we're going to be doing is July. I actually have a good amount of reads for the month of July, and that was because that was before my family had come and before I had been with them, before I was with them. So this is when I was prime reading normal amounts. Yeah. The first book that I read in the month of July was Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I read my first Emily Henry book in June, and so naturally I wanted to keep reading. This book was literally perfection to me. This is an absolute 5-star. I love Charlie Lastra. I say Lastra. I'm gonna say Lastra. I love Charlie so much, and Nora. I love a strong-minded, independent female main character, and that's exactly what Nora is. I loved everything about this book, honestly. Like, I can't say one thing that I did not like about this book. Nora is what is she? Okay, so Nora is a literary agent and Charlie is a book editor, I want to say. You know, it's been a minute since I've read this book. I'm not gonna lie to you. But basically, you should read this. I've seen somewhere on TikTok and it said that if you are an older sister, older sibling, anything like that, then you would love this book or somewhat relate to it. And I am the oldest sibling and I definitely related to this book a lot. I loved Nora. I just really enjoyed this book. And I think if you have not read it, you should at least give it a shot because it's perfection to me. Okay, the second book that I read in the month of July was Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. This is a very cutesy, don't really have to think about it type romance. I want to say it's not like a official second book, but it goes with When in Rome. It follows like characters that were also in When in Rome by Sarah Adams. So I would recommend reading When in Rome first. Wasn't anything crazy that I loved, but I did enjoy it. I read this in the summer. Obviously, I feel like it's a perfect summery, feel-good type romance. And I rated this, I want to say a 4-star. Yeah, this was a 4-star. So I definitely would recommend it. Like I said, very cute. No thoughts, just cutesy vibes. Next up, I read Happy Place by Emily Henry. This was also an absolute 5-star book for me. I believe I said it in my June reading wrap up that my goal was to read all of Emily Henry's books before I got to Happy Place because this was released in the summer and I really wanted to read her other books before I let myself read this one. So this really was the main goal. It was worth it. I loved Emily Henry's other books. Almost all of them were 5 stars for me, including this one. This one is beautiful, honestly, and I feel like I could see myself in so many characters in this book, not just one, but multiple. I truly believe that like everyone should read this book. I'm in my early 20s, and I feel like if you're in that age group where you're just trying to find yourself and, you know, you're growing up and it's scary, but it's very relatable and very real and raw, and I loved it. 5 out of 5, recommend this book. Looking back on these books, July was such a good reading month for me. Oh my gosh. Okay. The next book that I read in July was Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. This was an absolute 5 out of 5 for me. I did make a full spoiler reading vlog for this book if you want to watch my reactions to me reading it. I loved the world because it was fantasy, but it also was very realistic and easy for me to understand. It gave me so much Divergent vibes, and all I could picture in my head were just scenes from Divergent, which really helped me like bring this to life in my head. So if you liked Divergent growing up, whether it's the movies or the books, you would like this, in my opinion. 5 out of 5 stars. I cannot wait for Iron Flame to come out, so we shall see. The next book that I read was Defy Me in the Shatter Me series. This is the 5th book. Can't speak too much about it. It's very deep in the series, but I love the Shatter Me series so much, and yeah, this one was a 4 out of 5. And yeah, I definitely would recommend this series a million times to anyone who hasn't started it yet. And the next book I read, this novella is called Find Me, but it has Shadow Me and Reveal Me, the 2 novellas inside of it. I read Reveal Me. This was a 3-star. I don't remember whose POV it was from. Novellas, you know, honestly, all of these books kind of get smushed together in my head looking back on it, especially because it's been a while since I've read this now. But 3-star, little novella, cute. Then I read Done and Dusted by Lila Sage. I actually read this on Kindle, but I do want to give a little shout out because I won Miss Lila Sage's giveaway on her Instagram. So she sent me this physical copy, which I will never get over this cover. I think it is so beautiful. And she sent me little fan art to go with it. If you know, you know, in that scene. This is a bookmark. It says Yeehaw Era, and she signed it, which I just have to flex because you know what? I won the giveaway, so I'm going to flex it. Okay, sorry, not sorry. And then there's this sticker. It says Save a Horse. You already know. And then this Rebel Blue. Beautiful, beautiful. So once again, thank you, Miss Lila Sage. I mean, I won your giveaway, but thank you so much because I'm just so honored that I'm holding this and it's so beautiful, and that it's signed makes it even better. So thank you so much for that. Also, Done and Dusted was a 4-star for me. I loved it. I love the yeehaw. I love the cowboy, small town romance. If you really like the Chestnut Springs series, it kind of gives the same vibes. Not completely, just in the sense that it's a small town romance, cowboys. Clearly, I ate this up. The last book that I read was The Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walther. Very summer vibes. This was also one that I kind of just read really quickly. Doesn't really require much thought. This was a 3.5 star for me. Literally, my review for this book said 3.5, super fast paced and easy read. The Friends and Tay-Tay references. So yeah, what I said on Goodreads. And then we go into the month of August. This is my August reading wrap up. I read Imagine Me. This is the last full book in the Shatter Me series. There is one more novella, but this is the only book that I read in the month of August. Yeah. So this was a 4-star read for me. I love the Shatter Me series. Again, can't really speak on it because it's so deep in the series, but I love the series. It holds a special place in my heart, and this is the last full book, so it was very bittersweet. So there's that. Now let's go into our September reading wrap up, now that we got that over with. So in September, I read The Last Letter by Rebecca Yarros. Obviously, if you recognize the author, this is the same author that wrote Fourth Wing. I didn't realize that she had a lot of other books. Not fantasy. Fourth Wing was her first fantasy book, I believe. But Destiny, Miss Destiny Sidwell, I love her. I love anything that she posts, but she posted a picture of her absolutely crying to this book, and I wanted to know. I just had to know. So I bought it. I started this book on July 30th and I didn't finish it until September 4th. I rated this book a 4.75 star. It was not at all because the book was bad. I loved this book. It ripped me up inside, but I could not give it a 5 star because it took me that long to read it. It's confusing because the amount of time it took me to read this book had nothing to do with my opinion on the book. I loved the book. I thought it was amazing. I was very emotionally invested, but just the timing of I started this on my way to my hometown and then I was busy. I was keeping myself busy, you know? So I didn't pick this back up, or I was reading it like periodically, but I would just read like a couple pages at a time and then I would put it back down. So it wasn't very consistent on my end. That's the only reason it wasn't a 5 star for me though, because for me, that makes it not a 5 star. If you want something emotional to read, I'd recommend. Okay, the next book that I finished in September, it was actually an audiobook because I realized I was not reading physically, so I was trying to read books or listening to books as a hack. So I started listening to Thank You for Listening by Julia Whelan. It was a cute little romance. It was about an audiobook narrator romance. So that was cute. Like I was listening to it and it was about an audiobook narrator. So I thought it was cute. It's the same girl, but she changes her voice like for different characters, and so that was honestly impressive. I rated it a 3 star. It was a fun listen. It was something fun to listen to. So yeah. The next book that I read was Things We Hide from the Light by Lucy Score. This has been sitting on my shelf since the release date. I was so excited, and I don't know why I never picked it up. It's the second book in the Knock 'Em Out series. I loved Things We Never Got Over. I was so excited to read this, but for some reason I just could not, I had no urge to pick it up. I don't know why. But if you know, the third book in the Knock 'Em Out series finally came out. I wanted to read this book, that way I could read the third book, which doesn't really make any sense. But the point is, I finally read it. This one did take me a little bit to read as well. I rated it a 3 star. I liked it. I liked a small town romance. I love a small town romance. I love that it had characters from the first book as well. There was just kind of like some stuff from the first book that I didn't really remember, but it was kind of mentioning. So like I was following, but also like I wasn't as invested because on my part, it took a long time to finally read this. I would personally recommend the Knock 'Em Out series as a whole. I really enjoyed reading that series. And this is the second one again, follows Nash, the brother from the first book. And finally, the last book that I read in September was Believe Me by Tahira Mafi. This is the last novella in the Shatter Me series. This book is literally under 200 pages, but I think I dragged this one out because it's the last book in the Shatter Me series, the last novella. It's the last anything you can get from it. So I did drag this one out. It's a short book and I did enjoy it. I really did. I was in denial about finishing the series, I think, because I do love it so much, and I've been reading a book from this series every single month, and I was like, now I'm done with it. Anyways, this was a 3 star. I love a little novella. I love everything about the Shatter Me series. I really do. Can't recommend it enough. These are all of the books that I read in the months of July, August, and September. Very much variety and very inconsistent. But this is her. I did just want to update you guys on the reading that I've been doing and kind of what I've been up to and why I've been gone. Nobody asked, but I wanted to explain. Thank you guys for watching if you've made it this far, and hopefully I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!